Hello, everybody. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank the AgriFin team for organizing this conference in such a nice atmosphere and providing us a unique platform to share our experiences from the different parts of the world. Today, I will be presenting an agricultural loan evaluation system developed by Frankfurt School in EBRD-funded technical assistance programs. My plan was to mention a little bit about Frankfurt School and EBRD, but since our time is limited, I will be just skipping these two slides. You can just read from your printed materials the history of Frankfurt School and EBRD. Just a small detail about EBRD, you can contact this lady, this operations leader, to explore possible cooperation opportunities with EBRD and possibly implementation of ALES in a technical assistance program within your country with your financial institution. So let's start with ALES implementation examples, how it is developed and where it is used right now. ALES has originally been developed for the Tajik agricultural markets. There we were working with 8 financial institutions, 4 commercial banks and 4 MFIs. And these 8 institutions are using ALES since November 2007. After successful implementation of ALES in Tajikistan, then we have adjusted the tool to the Turkish market in line with the specificities of the Turkish market and in line with the needs of our partner financial institutions. Currently, we are working with 4 partner banks in Turkey. And in addition to that one, right now we are working on developing a tailor-made ALES version for Senegal, for CMS network, Credit Mutual Senegal network, to increase their agri-finance capacity. And at the same time, right now we are trying to develop a version for Ukraine as well. Okay, but why we have developed such a tool? What was our motivation? What were the needs in this sector? First, I would like to provide a brief information about that. What was our motivation? As everybody in this room observed, there is a kind of recent trend, and everybody started to talk about, access to food and sustainable energy finance. These are like 2 fancy words, even among the international organizations and donors. But considering the, increasing food prices and transformation of agricultural land and the climate change, I would say that their concerns are right. So, but what we have to do for ensuring access to finance? The answer is quite easy, actually, and that's why we are here, by supporting agriculture. So financial institutions should find a way to support agriculture and to increase access to finance of farmers. However, at the financial institution side, when you go there, there is a kind of agro-pessimism. Agro-lending has been perceived as risky, so financial institutions, as a result, are kind of ignoring this promising sector. And their role in agricultural finance was kind of limited to financing only the large agricultural enterprises or just supporting large agricultural projects. But in order to strengthen this promising sector, we have to finance all enterprises of all sizes, including micro and small ones. And at the same time, we believe that agricultural lending could be a profitable business line if the risks are monitored and if the risks are put under control. And the second reaction from the financial institution side will be like, okay, but we don't have, stuff with the required capacity, with the required agricultural lending knowledge. Then we have to find a solution which doesn't require a sophisticated agricultural lending knowledge. And our next motivation was related with the loan disbursement time. And actually, we have developed a kind of motto in Turkey. We say one day saves whole season in agriculture. I'm not saying that loan disbursement time is not important in other sectors. Of course it is. But it is even more important in agriculture sector. Because if you cannot disperse the loan in a timely manner, then that farmer can miss the whole season. It might be too late for the farmer. So we have to find a very quick solution, a very quick loan assessment tool. And finally, access to finance should not mean access to more than what you need. I mean, everybody in this room, most probably you observe the same thing. If you provide money to the farmer more than what he or she needs, he will not say no. Everybody will take that. And actually, some of the people, including myself, believe that this is one of the main reasons behind the financial crisis. Everybody will take the loan if it is more than what he needs. But our solution should prevent this, and we should not provide loan more than what the farmer needs. Taking all of these concerns into account, we have developed an agricultural risk assessment tool, a kind of agricultural loan calculator, the so-called ALES. And ALES establishes the necessary link between agricultural enterprises and farmers and the financial institutions while maintaining the risks at a controllable level. Here I have ALES in a nutshell for you, but again, this is just for a summary, and I will be mentioning all of these details during my presentation, so you can just read from your printed material. And how ALES is developed. There are 3 pillars of ALES development. We start with establishment of scoring system, the second stage, development of tech cards and regional data collection, and the final stage, loan appraisal and loan decision. The first step in developing ALES is the establishment of a scoring system in line with the risk appetite and the lending policy of the financial institution. The scoring system allows for incorporation of the financial institution's needs, their risks, and preferences. Therefore, it is tailored for each financial institution. The respective financial institution, together with Frankfurt School, has to decide on a number of parameters, such as lending decision based on gross profit or net profit. In ALES, our lending decision could be based on net profit or on gross profit. But initially, what we propose to adopt a net profit approach, and after you establish a sound portfolio, then maybe you can consider gross profit approach. My friend Ömer here from Yapı Kredi Bank, actually he will explore more on these details, because after 1.5 years, they started with the net profit approach, but after they have established their own portfolio, then now they are considering to switch to the gross profit approach. The second decision is lending up to what percentage of the working capital. We believe that this credit relation should be a kind of funding partnership between the farmer and the financial institution. So we don't, of course, suggest that 100% of the working capital need should not be provided, should not be financed by the financial institution, and there should be a kind of partnership. And as an example, in Turkey, our partner banks prefer to lend up to 75% of the working capital need, and the rest of the amount is expected to be put by the farmers itself from their own resources. The next item has to be decided is collecting data on past yields and comparison with the regional averages. As we will see later on, ALES is based on regional averages collected from the regions. But if the financial institution requests, then we can also ask to the past yields to the client, to the applicant, and we can also compare with our regional averages. This property is not used in Turkish version of ALES, but we use this one in Tajik version of ALES. The next item is amount of living expenses. There is a kind of reserve in ALES for the basic needs, so we are taking into account the living expenses. And here there are some ways where the financial institution is expected to select among. For instance, one of our partner institutions said this will be a fixed amount, like 5,000 euros, independent from how much they are earning or how much they are asking for. Another institution can say, okay, but this should be a function of the net income. And if so, they have to decide what will be the minimum limit, maximum limit, and the percentage of net income. YKB, they have selected, for instance, a certain percentage of net income as a living expenses. And the final item is the importance of qualitative analysis. But let's go to the next slide to see how we are making qualitative analysis in ALES. ALES is actually making qualitative analysis in 2 ways. In the first one, we have general questions to assess the background and agronomy of the farmer. So in a way, we are trying to differentiate between the bad and good farmers. Through these general questions, we ask questions such as registration of farmland, composition of farm, farming experience of the farmer, or ownership of machinery and irrigation of the land. And each answer here has a predefined score at the background of the system, and based on the answers given here, the client will receive a qualitative score. What we are asking to the financial institution is to define the minimum limit. You can think of this section as a lend or don't lend decision. So they will be defining the minimum limit, and if your score is lower than that, then no matter how much you are earning then you will not be able to get the loan. In Turkey, our score ranges between 0 and 180, and our financial institutions set this minimum limit as 100. So you have to get at least 100 over 180 to proceed. The next qualitative analysis is the productivity questions. ALES is based on regional average yields that we entered into the tool. But through these productivity questions, we are kind of making an individual risk assessment. And based on the answers given to this section, the average yield defined in the system can go up or can go down. And here we ask questions such as use of certified seeds or use of fertilizers, use of pesticides, and their frequency or type of soil. There are questions like that. And again, each answer has a predefined score at the background. But I have to say that these scores and these predefined scores are different for each crop. What I am trying to say is that, for instance, 50 kilogram of nitrogen fertilizer could be good for some product, but it's not for the other one. So we are trying to arrange this section differently for each crop. The next stage in ALES development is the development of tech cards, which is the core element of ALES. ALES is based on a database of tech cards, and here the average agricultural income and expense has been defined for each agricultural product in each specific region. The information contained in the tech cards is essential for making the quantitative analysis, such as I said before, defining the agricultural income, defining agricultural expenses, or defining the working capital need. And for creation of tech card database, first of all, the country concerned should be divided into the sub-regions, and it has to be grouped. And while grouping the country, we take into account geographical location, regional development plans, climate, crop diversity, and flora. And afterwards, once the country concerned is divided into sub-regions, our agronomist team is traveling extensively to these regions and making interviews with the farmers, and then coming up with field tech cards, including information on average yield, selling price, working capital requirement, production processes, and related costs. The minimum number of interviews to be made in the regions is set to be 3 for the initial year. And afterwards, we decrease this number to 2. So for the following years, 2 interviews for each product in each region is necessary. And then these preliminary tech cards are collected, studied, and then we come up with a single tech card for that crop, for that region. As you can see, ALES is not based on national averages. Therefore, we take into account the regional differences. There is no one single tech card for one crop, but we have one tech card for one region for one crop. I would like to show you an example of tech card, how it looks like. For example, this is a tech card format for olives for oil product in Izmir region of Turkey. Here we start with land preparation till the harvesting time, and also we are putting all the inputs used during the cultivation process. And all the costs are involved here. And at the bottom here, you can see the total expenses, which means that cultivating of 1 dekar of olives for oil in Izmir region, 1 dekar is 1,000 square meters in Turkey, you have to spend 507 Turkish liras. Okay, this is the cost side, this is the working capital side. What will be the revenue side? We estimate that the average yield in that region for this specific crop will be 500 kilos per dekar, and the sales price is estimated to be 1.5 Turkish lira. So at the end, a farmer cultivating olives for oil in the Izmir region will earn 750 Turkish lira per dekar. And then these information are then used to make the quantitative analysis. Here I would like to remind you that ALES is not only about agricultural income and expenses. We are also taking into account non-agricultural income and expenses to make a better income projection and to estimate the repayment capacity of the farmer better. In addition to this one, in addition to non-agricultural income and expenses, ALES is also taking into account the bank borrowings, short-term and long-term bank borrowings, again to estimate the repayment capacity of the farmer better. And the next and the final stage in ALES development is the loan appraisal and loan decision. Once you enter the loan application details into ALES, such as loan amount requested, maturity requested, the purpose of loan, non-farming income and expenses, current bank indebtedness, and once you answer to the qualitative questions which I mentioned a second ago, and once you enter the production area for each crop, then ALES will automatically calculate the working capital need and the most likely yield and income based on the answers you have provided to the system. Here we have also suggestions on maturity considering the harvesting time of each crop at the right-hand side. And then we have the summary section, of course. In the summary section, the result has been summarized in 3 table formats. In the first format, this is just about a summary of income and expenses, so you can find information about agricultural gross income, agricultural expenses, agricultural net income, and net income after non-agricultural income and expenses. This table format could be extended or shortened together with the financial institution. The next table is about the summary of qualitative analysis. So here you will find the result of a qualitative score and whether you are eligible or not. And the last last summary table is about the proposed limits. For each loan product requested, ALES is making a loan limit assignment. But the innovation of ALES is actually, we are also putting an overall limit here. So maybe you will be entitled to receive a certain amount from a loan product you asked for, but at the end, the total amount you received as a farmer cannot exceed your total repayment capacity. So we are making a double control here, and the total amount dispersed for this client cannot exceed this overall limit proposed by the system. Here, again, a summary for you for the ALES benefits and challenges you can read from your material, but I would like to highlight 2 important benefits of ALES. We believe that ALES is an ideal solution for the farmers involved in more than one agricultural activity, and this is important for countries like Turkey, because in Turkey, more than 60% of farmers are involved more than one activity, meaning like, crop production and animal husbandry at the same time. And ALES, in such a case, can make the analysis of those farmers easily and quickly. The next important benefit of ALES is it's a tailor-made solution, and it can be easily incorporated in your bank's internal system. And Ömer from Yapı Kredi Bank will be explaining how they manage this integration process. And for the challenges, of course, as you can imagine, the main challenge of ALES is the requirement of human resources and investments for regional data collection and updating this database regularly. We also believe that ALES is a kind of living tool, so we still have some functions that we can integrate into ALES. For instance, right now we are working on production of an automatic loan repayment schedule at the summary section. And the last challenge of ALES, ALES right now is based on Excel, but in Turkish market we have developed a web-based version as well. So if you want to use the web-based version and if you want to integrate this into your bank's own system, then of course you will need a professional IT partner. Now let's look at the implementation results, what we have achieved with ALES so far. As I said, ALES has been implemented in Tajik market in 8 institutions and has provided access to finance for more than 24,500 farms, amounting for $72 million within 5 years. And the average loan amount was below $3,000, and the portfolio at risk ratio was only 1.8%. Another advantage for the financial institutions, our methodology, ALES methodology, and the TAF methodology has been recognized by the financial institutions, international financial institutions. So our partner banks could receive interest rate discounts while they are getting loans from these institutions. Let's see now the results in Turkish markets. We are currently developing ALES for one of our partner banks, and 2 partner banks have already completed their testing phase in pilot regions, and they have started to use ALES as an agricultural lending decision mechanism. But I believe that it is still too early to share results with these 2 institutions, Akbank and İşbank. But we have achieved great results with Yapı Kredi Bank. ALES has been used in 250 branches of the bank since January 2012. And a total of $350 million have been dispersed to more than 35,000 farmers only in 2012. And Ömer will be explaining the other details. And the final slide is about, of course, the most sensitive issue. That's the cost of implementation. And I will say that this is really difficult for me to say, because it's a tailor-made solution, and it differs from one country to the other, depending on the size of the country, the crop diversity. But just to give you an idea, I have divided the cost of implementation into 5 phases. It starts with the data collection. For data collection, for instance, in Tajikistan, we have divided the country into 3, and we have defined 35 priority crops. At the end, we ended up with 105 tech cards. And the cost of data collection in Tajikistan for 5 years was around 200,000 euros. So it makes like 40,000 euros per year. In Senegal, for instance, we have divided Senegal into 5 regions, but there was much less crops in Senegal, and we estimate ending up with 60, 70 tech cards, so the cost will be much lower. But in Turkey, Turkey is like the high end of this data collection. We have divided Turkey into 26 regions, and we have identified more than 100 crops, and right now we have more than 1,350 tech cards. And the cost of data collection for Turkish market is about 500,000 euros per year. For data evaluation and entry, we estimate that this process will take almost 20% of the time spent for data collection. The next item, creation of ALES on Excel. This is kind of standard. We will sit together with the financial institution and we will establish a tailor-made version of ALES. And we estimate that this will take around 2 months. And establishment of ALES on web-based version, if you would like to continue with the web-based version, we estimate that this step will take around 2 to 3 months. And the final section is about the technical assistance services provided. ALES usually comes up with the technical assistance services. Here, I mentioned the technical assistance services provided by Frankfurt School while implementing ALES. But this one also depends on the capacity of the financial institution or the needs of the financial institution. Some of these technical assistance services could be skipped and the cost could be decreased. So at the end of the day, we end up with a cost less than 100,000 euros for a financial institution in Tajikistan, but we end up with 700,000 euros for a financial institution in Turkey. So this is what I can provide about the cost of ALES implementation. This is end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your listening.